Okay, good afternoon YouTube. Welcome to another Dad Cooks Better. Today we're going to make an instant 5-minute Demi Glace sauce. Demi Glace sauce is something we can use to make a whole bunch of other sauces. Let me show you quick the ingredients on how we're going to make it. To make the instant Demi Glace sauce, what do I use, or what do I like to use is some bacon leftover, carrots, celery and onion. These three together are what they call a mirepoix. Then we have some flour, some tomato puree, a little clove of garlic, some oil and butter, and a little stick of instant beef stock. From that instant beef stock I use about 500 to 600 mils of the beef stock. Now I'm already preheating the pan. Let's take a look on how we make it. Come, I'll show you. First we put some oil and a little stick of butter. Now why do we mix oil with butter? Butter by itself cannot reach a very high temperature. So we add a little bit of oil together with the butter, and that way we can reach a higher temperature. Okay, we're preheating the pan now, and as you can see, that's oil with a little bit of butter. And you can see it's not changing any color. So we can make the pan go very hot. Now, I'm not going to use too much oil and butter because the bacon itself also is pretty fatty. So we're going to start frying that. Give it a little shake. Together with that we're going to start putting in the onions. Start putting in the carrots. And the celery. And we're going to let that get some nice color. The clue or the trick about getting a very good Demi Glace sauce with a lot of flavor is letting everything get a lot of color. So we're going to let this get some color, fry down a little bit, and I'll see you in a second. Hey, okay, now we're starting to get some color on our vegetables and our bacon. Now that's what we're looking for, some good color that's going to give some additional taste. Now, what I'm going to start adding now is, first of all, I'm going to add my stick of garlic. You don't put garlic in from the beginning, you put it in halfway, otherwise it's going to go too bitter in taste. What you want to do is just give it a small pat with the knife, put it in there. Okay. Now, second of all, I'm going to add my flour. Now what's the flour going to do? It's going to help me thicken my Demi Glace at the end. Now remember, you got a fatty substance in here, together with the flour, is the base of a good roux. So what I'm going to do now is what they call sancheren. I'm going to put in the flour, just give it a quick good mix. After we added the flour, I'm going to put in my tomato paste. That's about a good coffee spoon worth of tomato paste. Mix it in. Give it again some color. Again, color here is key to get a good flavor. Okay? There we go. Starting to get a little bit dry. So we're just going to let it brown just that little bit more before we start adding our first liquids. You start to get that nice smell from the roasted vegetables and the flour and the butter. Starting to get a really nice crispy flavor. Okay, we're going to let that dry out a little minute. Now, for people who want to, it's not obligated. From now we have two options. You can either add some white wine or red wine, or you can add some cognac. Because my Demi Glace sauce is going to be the base for something else, which I already know what it's going to be. I'm going to use a little bit of cognac. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold on for a little bit more. Just give it just that little bit more color. And then I'm going to deglaze the pan. Deglazing the pan is a technique where you take the little things that are stuck to the bottom of the pan and we get them loose, and that is again a lot more extra flavor. You don't want it to burn, but those little brown crunchy bits that stick to the bottom of the pan, that's when we deglaze it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to deglaze. There we go. That I'm going to let reduce. Let that reduce until the sharpness of the alcohol is gone. Just let that reduce. And now I'm going to add my beef stock. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to let everything do its work. We're going to turn down the fire a little bit. We're just going to let it concentrate. The flour, the butter, the roux base is going to start thickening my sauce a little bit. The tomato paste also is going to help to thicken the sauce. And now the bacon, the onion, the celery and the carrots and the garlic can start really giving off their flavor to this wonderful base that we're going to use to make my other sauce. Okay, we're going to let that reduce down a bit. I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, we're starting to get at the point where the sauce is starting to get a nice consistency and it's starting to boil down. Now I'm going to start adding the bay leaf and some of my fresh herbs. This is thymian. It's going to give a nice flavor to everything to finish it off. I'm going to let this boil down for about another 5 minutes and then I'm going to be more or less at where I am. The sauce is starting to get a nice meaty color. So this would take about another 5 minutes and it should be ready to use as a base for a lot of other sauces. Now a lot of people may think, hey, you're not putting any salt and pepper. No, I'm not. At this point, this sauce is going to be a base for my other sauce. So when I put this sauce and the other sauce together, that's when I'm going to put in the seasoning. If I were going to use this as a gravy, to accompany my meat or anything else, then I would start putting my seasoning, salt, pepper, and anything else you want to put in, I would put it in now. But because this is a base for something else, I'm going to go easy on the seasoning because I want to season it when everything else comes together. Okay? So we're starting to come, look, this is starting to get a nice boiled down consistency. About another 5 minutes. You want to reduce it down to about, not half, a little bit more than half what we had. And then we'll know we'll be about good. You don't want to boil, when you're putting in fresh herbs, you don't want to leave them in there too long. You want to put them in at the end, the last couple of minutes. Then you get the best flavor. Now, the sauce has had another additional 5 minutes to reduce down. And I mean, the vegetables have done their job. The celery, the carrots, the bacon, the onion, they've all given off their flavor and done what they had to do. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pass it through a sieve, because I'm not going to need them in my other sauce. There you go. Now, with a spoon, I'm just going to rub it down a little bit just to get all those extra juices out of that sauce. Look at that. I mean, the smell itself is just amazing. Okay, that's about it. Now in top restaurants, they make this Demi Glace long in advance. But this is a little trick my grandfather showed me, that you have a 30 minutes in advance Demi Glace. See, we have a nice sauce consistency which we can use as a base to either thicken more or use for something else. Now the taste of this, I mean, I haven't added any salt and pepper, and I mean the taste of this by itself, I mean it's perfect to use as a base of everything else. The bacon has a natural salt in it. You had the carrots, the celery is also natural salt, so we don't need to add any more salts. The good beef stock had also nice herbs in it. So for seasoning for the moment, this is fine to work as a base for another sauce. Okay, I'm going to get to work to start my second sauce. This is my 5-minute or 30-minute instant Demi Glace sauce. Thanks for watching. See you again next time.